Here, if you look with care, there is a plume of water rising between the mastheads of the West Virginia. At the moment this photo was taken, she was hit by a torpedo.
This reconnaissance photo, taken from a side angle, shows another geyser from one of those torpedoes, towering 800 feet over Battleship Row. But after looking closer at some of the details in the key photo, things don't add up.
We can see the splash points in the background and also in the foreground, and there are many tracks in the water, but the number of tracks don't add up to the splash points. So right away we're saying, well, there's something obviously a little out of joint here.
Our photographic experts determined that there were 4 splash points in the picture, 2 behind the unknown object, a 3rd splash point here, and a 4th closer to the West Virginia. These faint white lines identify the path of a torpedo. Under careful analysis, our experts found 6 tracks in the harbor, all headed toward Battleship Row. 6 torpedo tracks, but only 4 splashes. These 2 extra tracks seem to converge near our unidentified floating object. Could these 2 tracks be caused by torpedoes from a midget sub? The unknown object now became the focus of their investigation. Our analysts first looked at 3 tufts of water behind the object, so-called rooster tails.
This enlargement shows 3 distinctive rooster tails. At first glance, I'm sure most people thought that they were exploding ordnance in the water, but they definitely do not have characteristics of exploding ordnance. And if you notice that with each tail, as you move forward, each one is getting larger.
These rooster tails were over 50 feet tall. Researchers wondered what might be creating these huge splashes. The answer may be found in the design of the midget subs. When the torpedoes were fired from the bow, the sub would tip, like an 80-foot-long seesaw.
It would fill with water and then settle back down again, and its tail would rise.
Like some huge blender, the spinning prop would churn up the water as the rear of the sub slammed back into the harbor. Could this account for these rooster tails?
Some individuals said, well, no, it's probably a torpedo doing this. A torpedo would not make this kind of size rooster tails going through the water.
Our photo analyst team believes that this aerial photograph proves that the 5th sub successfully attacked at least 1 American ship.
Data in the image that lends itself very strongly to the presence of a submarine. Not only that, but also that it had fired torpedoes, and what appears to be one of them striking the West Virginia at the time the photograph was taken.
If this theory is correct, the Japanese and their superior technology had inflicted another humiliation upon the United States Navy in the heart of Pearl Harbor. Needless to say, this theory is controversial.
Well, there are a number of faults with the autometric assessment. Number 1, the quality of photograph is poor. Number 2, there are a number of small craft in the area they don't mention, one of which is only 50 yards away. And number 3, there are no other witnesses or written reports of anybody in that area seeing a major submarine.
Other experts disagree.
When I look at this picture, it looks like a midget submarine. It's acting like a midget submarine. It's doing what a midget submarine was supposed to be doing. There's a good chance this is a midget submarine. It's walking like a duck and it's quacking like a duck.
One key to solving this mystery is in identifying what made these splashes. Were they caused by aerial torpedoes or a midget sub's propellers? To find out, Unsolved History returned to the Marine Hydrodynamics Lab at the University of Michigan. First, researchers constructed a 20-to-1 scale model of a midget submarine.
The tests that we're going to perform have to deal with whether or not counter-rotating propellers can produce a rooster tail effect when they broach the water surface. So we'll hold the sub in position, we'll turn the counter-rotating system with an external power supply at various speeds, and then we'll run different size waves that were similar to the waves that were experienced from the blast waves inside of Pearl Harbor against the ship and see what sort of spray or rooster tail is created and whether we see that or not.
For this propeller splash test, our team uses the lab's 2D gravity tank, which can precisely generate waves and wind. Our team has a high-speed camera on hand to record this wave action in slow motion at 500 frames per second. The submarine model is placed in the tank. Then the wave generator is started. After a few moments, a series of waves reaches the model. As each wave breaks, the model's propellers are exposed, kicking up a cloud of water spray. These splashes are diffuse, not precisely defined like the rooster tails in the aerial photo.
I particularly noticed that the large rooster tails occur only when the propeller is very clear of the water. And as I look at the photograph and look at the submarine in relationship to the waves it's traveling through, it just doesn't seem to have that same physics. And I'm still not believing that the submarine is causing those sprays.
But if the submarine didn't create the rooster tails, what did? The morning of the attack, torpedo planes were also targeting Battleship Row. Could this splash be caused by one of their aerial torpedoes hitting the water? Can we recreate one of these splashes and match it to our original photograph? To find out, we went to the lab's main water tank to perform a series of drop tests with our scale model Japanese aerial torpedo. These tests are also recorded with ultra-high-speed cameras. After the test, Hans and Guy review the footage.
This one's 500 frames a second with a 35mm lens.
There. Okay. Now look at that right there.
We're seeing more of an outward.
Right, the waves are propagating away. Very good, very good.
After this drop test, our Ann Arbor team concludes that the rooster tails seen in the aerial photograph most likely were caused by aerial torpedoes, not a midget sub.
I'm more convinced that what we see in that aerial photograph is the result of this very complex interaction of the torpedo entering the water in salt water where the foam lasts and persists much longer.
So what is this mysterious shape in Pearl Harbor? There's only one way to find out. We need to rebuild the Japanese sub.
So guys, all we have to do is apply pressure to the front of it.
Design our own harbor.
Yeah, they are. So where are we going to put the bow at on this thing?
And recreate this frame from history.
That puts it right over in the little cove area.
This Japanese photo reportedly captures a midget sub inside Pearl Harbor, having just fired a torpedo on Battleship Row. But critics believe these tracks were caused by torpedoes dropped from the air. What is really happening in this extraordinary photograph? In order to find out, Unsolved History needed to restage this phase of the attack on Pearl Harbor. Our elaborate reconstruction presented major challenges to our investigators. First, location. After scouting many possible sites, we found an ideal spot, Lake Castaic, 36 miles north of Los Angeles. Surrounded by rolling hills, the location was perfect. In addition, a nearby bluff provided a platform that could replicate the high angle of the Japanese aerial photo. Our next challenge, putting our ships in their exact positions. We transposed the length and location of the 1941 ships, in this case the USS Arizona. Then our scale model